I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice. And let me remind you also that moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue.
Industrial giant, to get government back within its means and to lighten our punitive tax burden. And these will be our first priorities, and on these principles there will be no compromise. I can hear you! I can hear you! The rest of the world hears you! And the people...
Never give in. Never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy.
But I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
We declare our right on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
Apostle Claver T. Kamau-Imani on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, Saints and Patriots? Apostle Claver T. Kamau-Imani, RagingElePhantsRadio.com, the rebellious voice of Texas liberty. I think I have a great show for you. I suppose if any talk show host came to the microphone and said, "Oh, I really don't have a great show for you," but they shouldn't do the show. So we said every talk show host opens up and says, "I got a great show for you." But, well, don't you think we better have one? Jason Isaac, former state representative, is going to join me tonight, and we're going to talk about the condition that Texas is in. I guess this is sort of the continuation from last night's special report, Texas under attack. We still have to focus on the three fronts in which Texas is fighting for its life. Issue number 1, oil production. Issue number 2, the border invasion. Issue number 3, the COVID-19 coronavirus panic, the shutting down of our economy. I get it. You guys may flip 2 and 3. You may say, well, the number 1 thing or the number 2 thing is the shutting down of the economy, and the number 3 thing is the immigration invasion. But I believe that it would be a consensus amongst most right-thinking Texans that the number 1 issue that we face right now is that we were literally attacked by a foreign entity. We were literally attacked by 2 countries, Russia and Saudi Arabia. On yesterday, I went through painstakingly a timeline with video documentation of how it's without question, an attack from Russia and Saudi Arabia on Texas specifically that has caused a plunge in energy prices. They were shooting off confetti cannons up in Wall Street today. Stock market made a bit of a rebound because the June contract for West Texas Intermediate crude did rise by some 20+% today, but that only meant it got back to $14 a barrel. $14 a barrel. There's blue jeans that you can get a pair of blue jeans that cost. Babe, what can you get? You know what? A pot roast. A pot roast could potentially cost more than 42 gallons of oil, a barrel of oil. A couple of slabs of pork ribs could cost more than a barrel of oil. And it was all intentional. It was all by design. It was all to attack us here in Texas, our energy producers, our economy. I don't know what the main networks are primarily talking about. I'm sure they're still talking about the panic, but here at Raging Elephants Radio, especially me, for a month now, I've been talking about us having been attacked by two separate sovereign countries, Russia, Saudi Arabia. Russia, the one that I believe is the one that instigated it all. Saudi Arabia doing a CYA operation right now. We start off today's program with a real jewel. Railroad Commission Chairman Wayne Christian was on CNBC, and I got to give him credit. CNBC has been covering this story from top to bottom. To some extent, Bloomberg has as well. Whenever someone of note, when it comes to the war that we're at with Russia, makes a media appearance, I try to share it with you because I know it's hard for each and every one of you to be able to catch up with what is being said about this issue, if something is ever being said about this issue. But to me, it's the number one challenge that we face as Texans, that two sovereign countries in alliance, in collusion, in conspiracy, is trying to starve us to death. It's trying to destroy our economy. I believe that's the number one story. Yesterday, I had Railroad Commission member Ryan Sitton on. I played his video interview with CNBC, and today the chairman Wayne Christian was on CNBC for a few minutes, and I believe that he had some things that to say that were extremely interesting. So let's start today's program by going to that video on CNBC. This is Railroad Commission Chair Wayne Christian out of Nacogdoches.
Let's move to oil now. The price of crude continuing its comeback today, up about 27% right now, up 40% at the highs. We're just above $14 a barrel, but it's whipping around. There's a lot of volatility, and we're a far cry from the $60 price we saw back in January. This collapse has led the Texas Railroad Commission, which regulates the oil and gas industry, to consider production cuts, though now it's holding off on a vote until it can ensure any action will withstand legal challenges. For more, I'm joined by Wayne Christian. He's the chair of the Texas Railroad Commission. And Wayne, the longer you wait, the less you can help, frankly.
Kelly, that's somewhat true, but the other thing is to do something wrong would be even more damaging, and that's what we're avoiding. We're wanting all the information, all the answers that we possibly can get. We had 10.5 hours of testimony a week ago, as we talked earlier, about the industry, and all the interested parties were able to testify. So it's a lot to go through. The Railroad Commission has reviewed that. We've tried to inject as many changes to policies we possibly are allowed to meet the needs of our industry. And we are just negotiating federally with what our role can play in that particular venue. So we're looking at a decision that makes sense and has facts to present, not to make an off-the-cuff decision. This is too important.
Yeah, no, and we spoke to the Energy Secretary yesterday, Dan Brouillette, who said, we had spoken to your colleague Ryan Sitton, who said he was in favor of proration, but wanted other states to also be looking at cutting back production. The Energy Secretary said he's not sure if that's legal to cooperate across state lines. So is that what you're referring to? If that is okay, would you sign on to Commissioner Sitton's plan?
If it were a successful plan, the entire United States came together. I agree with the Energy Secretary. I would follow the lead of the federal government. Now, we're a federalist government here, which means each of the states has its responsibility.
Well, see, there you go, Wayne. I love Wayne. I've known Wayne for years and years and years. But I'm just going to tell you right now, hashtag Texit. Because of that attitude that's being demonstrated right there by the chair of the Texas Railroad Commission. Texas specifically has been attacked. Ted Cruz has called it economic warfare. And like so many in Austin, Wayne Christian, what he wants to do is defer to Washington, Devil City, to the feds. Oh, no. We've heard this so many times, right? When it comes to border security. Oh, no, this is a federal issue. This is a Washington, D.C. issue. We can't do anything about sealing our border when it's Texas that's under attack, under invasion to the tune of 1.25 million in FY 2019. Oh, no, it's up to Obama. Oh, no, it's up to Trump. Nobody in Austin wants to take responsibility. And here's Wayne Christian saying, we're going to follow the lead of Washington. And Washington has done nothing in retaliation. No counterattack whatsoever. I'm disappointed in this stance by Commissioner Wayne Christian. I love Wayne. He's a good guy. But this idea that we're going to follow the lead of Washington, when are they going to retaliate? Where is the counterattack plan?
In individual roles. And when they put an entire nation together, that's several states. Now, we are negotiating. I visited with our friends in North Dakota. Oklahoma has made some moves toward considering a capping, but Texas will stand alone and decide what's best. And if we can indeed benefit working together, but at the lead of our energy department.
Now, I like that. I like where he says Texas is going to make its own decision, as we should. Hashtag Texas. What if our prayers had already been answered? I mean, I talked with Daniel Miller about this last night, president of the Texas Nationalist Movement. I spoke with him about this last night on the program. What if our prayers had already been answered and we already are an independent sovereign republic once again, as prophesied by Sam Houston? What would we do? We wouldn't have to wait and take the lead or follow the lead of Washington, Devil City. We could be making our own sovereign moves, as we should. If we wanted to work and negotiate with the United States, with other states, we still could. But this idea that retribution or our well-being depends entirely on the leadership of the Energy Department, which is unconstitutional in the first place, which shouldn't even be in existence. This is upside down and bass backwards. Russia and Saudi Arabia decide to have a urination contest. Texas is the one that's getting wet. And we've got to wait for the lead of Washington, Devil City for us to have some sort of payback, for us to be able to put food on our table. We're the ones that are facing 10% plus unemployment just in Houston, just as an impact of Russia and Saudi Arabia attacking us. And here's our chairman of the Railroad Commission, Wayne Christian, said, we want to do something, but we're going to wait for the lead of the Energy Department, the Secretary of Energy. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm tired of waiting. I'm the one that's been sounding the alarm for over a month that Texas is under attack. Our way of life is under attack. Our sovereignty, our liberty, our prosperity. And here's the chairman sitting here going, we're going to wait for the lead of Washington. I don't like it, not one bit.
So if your attorney general in Texas, Ken Paxton, says that this is okay, would you vote for prorating oil production?
I haven't made up my mind yet. It's still an issue that's on the table. Quite frankly, I find there's some arguments that we found in the debate that don't seem to be coming out.
Somebody better, dude. He is obviously not cut out to be a wartime general. I haven't made up my mind yet. What is the counterattack going to be? What are we going to do to defend ourselves? In the meantime, on Monday, oil settles at a negative $37.63. I haven't made up my mind yet. Somebody better make some decisions. Somebody better do something. We're facing hundreds of thousands of jobs being lost in Texas. Hundreds of thousands of millions, if not billions, of dollars being lost in a $2 trillion economy because of what Russia and Saudi Arabia is doing. Dude, catch up. Chairman Christian, catch up, make a decision, make a move. You're behind the curve. The Railroad Commission is behind the curve. Greg Abbott is behind the curve, as he always is. President Trump seems to be totally preoccupied with the panic, and nobody in Washington and the Energy Department is doing anything about the fact that we are under assault, that our prosperity is being stolen hourly. And Wayne Christian stands here and says, I haven't made up my decision on what I want to do. It was yesterday. They punted. Said, well, we're going to make a decision on May the 5th. Meanwhile, how many other energy producers between now and then potentially may have to declare bankruptcy? How many energy industry workers are going to have to get laid off? The layoffs have already started. The bankruptcy of drillers has already started.
As presented, it was saying there was little folk against the big international companies in oil production. Mm-hmm. And I've not seen that as being evident when the evidence is reviewed. And I'm just finding that there's a lot of questions and we're still trying to put the answers together. But I understand I'm putting them together as fast as possible because we don't need to let the markets continue to be uncertain on what's going on with oil and gas. Texas will rise to the occasion. 100% of the time, this nation.
Here comes the rah-rah. Here comes the cheerleading. See, when you don't have any answers, what you do is you rah-rah, you cheerlead, and you pull at the heartstrings of your constituents. He has literally no answers. Does anybody have any answers? Does anybody have any answers? Well, we'll come up with some, but I tell you, we're Texans and we're gonna pull through.
I understand I'm putting them together as fast as possible because we don't need to let the markets continue to be uncertain on what's going on with oil and gas.
And there is no uncertainty. We know what's going on. The market has been flooded by Russia, by Saudi Arabia, by OPEC Plus for a specific reason: to run Texas oil producers out of business. That has been categorically stated. It is an unequivocal fact. Multiple media outlets, Russia and Saudi Arabia, don't even deny it. They don't even deny it. There is no uncertainty in the global energy market right now. We know exactly what's going on. Russia, Saudi Arabia, overflowing the bathtub, which is the global energy market. Once again, don't make the mistake. The United States is not energy independent. We are not. The epitome of globalization is the energy market, is the crude oil market. That is the epitome of globalization. There is no independence in the global energy market as far as prices are concerned. That's why we're being impacted the way we're being impacted. It's quite clear. There's no more clarity that's needed. Texas has been attacked by Russia and Saudi Arabia. They specifically are overflowing the bathtub of the global oil market to put Texas oil producers out of business. There's plenty of clarity. We know exactly what's going on. The question becomes, what are the leaders, the elected servants of the people, going to do in retaliation, in counterattack, to save our economy, to save our jobs? Texas is dealing with this more than any other state in the union. Our situation is utterly unique, fighting a war literally on three fronts, as was proven to you in last night's program.
Texas will rise to the occasion. 100% of the time, this nation has been under attack in every means possible. I've been a financial registered investment advisor for some 40 years, and I'll take it 100% of the time America comes back stronger. So does Texas.
You know, and he says attack. Okay, do you recognize that we've been attacked? What's taking so long for a response?
You have a task force you're assembling. Like to explain what you are hoping will come out of this. It looks like they're
more chit chat, more committee meetings, more sitting around and sipping good Texas coffee, I guess. I don't know. I'm sipping me some coffee right now because apparently that's what our leaders are doing. The Texas economy is swirling the toilet bowl, but, you know, our leaders are chit-chatting. Texas is the Titanic, and they're just rearranging the chairs on the deck. The band plays on. Let's have some more meetings. Let's kick the can down the road, shall we? Says the Railroad Commission. Let's kick the can on down the road to May 5th. Let's wait for the June contract to finish at a negative, whatever the price will be, before we do something. Let's sip some more coffee. Let's get it. Apparently, there's no urgency, so why should I have urgency? I can just sit here and just sip coffee. What's the urgency? There's no urgency. Hundreds of thousands of Texans are losing jobs. The rainy day fund is going to be utterly depleted. Multi-generational businesses are going to be filing for bankruptcy. Let's just sip some more coffee. Let's just chit-chat.
Looking at every aspect, as you've said, of the oil industry, operations, permitting, timelines, tax policy, storage capacity, pipeline capacity, market access barriers. Are these kind of looking at other tools that might be used to curb production or, help the industry, offer more storage and that sort of thing, if prorating isn't the answer?
Yes. What I did was appoint a task force of all of the different organizations, the associations, from large to small, from landowners, royalty owners, all the different...
Oh, Lord have mercy. What is it with these people? Greg Abbott appoints a task force. Today I'm announcing... At least Wayne Christian has a little bit more charisma than Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott has the charisma of a tree sloth. At least Wayne Christian has a little bit more charisma. Greg Abbott. Today, I'm announcing the appointment of a task force on what's the best way for us to reopen the economy. Chairman Wayne Christian, the Railroad Commission. Today, yes, we have formed a task force to talk about what's the best way to keep food on our table since we are under assault by the Russians and the Saudis.
Organizations to come together and to tell us how we could best assist the free market industry as a governmental agency rather than the government, big brother, tell free market what to do. The industry in Texas and in the United States has built the most successful industry of oil and gas and energy in the history of the world. And why doubt now that when we have a crisis, almost a warlike situation...
What? Almost a warlike situation? Why the duplicity? Why the confusion on the part of the chairman? I have been saying for a month, Texas is under attack. We are at war. Ted Cruz says we are at war. That the Russians and the Saudis, the actions that they have taken are paramount to economic warfare. Wayne Christian utters the word war, but nobody is acting like we're at war. Everybody's sitting around chit-chatting, forming task force, and sipping coffee.
Most successful industry of oil and gas and energy in the history of the world. And why doubt now that when we have a crisis, almost a warlike situation, where indeed government should play its role? I appointed this task force for them to tell us what would be the best part to play.
Right.
And then we can decide whether government goes big. And I think we've experimented with socialism a little bit. I don't think it's feeling too good in America today.
Well, I would hardly expect Texas to be the state to lead the way, which is what makes this so interesting. Final question, and Senator Cruz has suggested that he would turn back the flotilla of 40 million barrels of Saudi crude on 20 ships that is headed your way. Do you have a plan about what to do about this? Talk about making a bad situation worse right now.
Oh, look at this tweet, because wherever Wayne Christian says, it doesn't matter. Thank you, Senator Cruz. I've said it over and over again. I say it again. Thank you, Senator Cruz. He is at least trying to bring attention to the situation. Here's the tweet. 20 tankers filled with 40 million barrels of Saudi oil are headed to the U.S. This is 7 times the typical monthly flow. At the same time, oil futures are plummeting and millions of U.S. jobs in jeopardy. My message to the Saudis, turn the tankers the hell around. And here's a question that we should talk about. Here's a question that we should get an answer to. Where is Cornyn? Ted Cruz is doing his thing. Where is Cornyn? Ted Cruz is making waves in the media, trying to bring attention to exactly what's going on. He called it economic warfare. He had a conversation with the Saudi ambassador. So says Senator Cruz, they read her the riot act for what they have done. We thank Senator Cruz for what he's attempting to do. We thank him for posting the AOC tweet that I'm going to be talking about in the next segment. We thank him for putting a spotlight, a hot focus spotlight on Texas in a condition of warfare. Where's Cornyn? Where's Cornyn? Where is Senator Cornyn right about now?
Well, again, I visited with Senator Cruz yesterday, with Senator Cornyn, both of our senators. I visited with the Department of Energy. And again, the state of Texas takes care of Texas business. When it comes to negotiation of...
No, since when? The state of Texas takes care of Texas business. What are y'all going to do? What is Greg Abbott going to do? What is the Railroad Commission going to do? How come there isn't a special session to deal with this? What is the Attorney General going to do? What is the Ag Commissioner going to do? What is the Land Commissioner going to do? What is the RRC going to do, the Railroad Commission? What are you going to do to retaliate, to protect us and our economy? He says Texans can take care of ourselves, but Wayne Christian says we're going to follow the lead of Washington, Devil City. The Department of Energy, which is unconstitutional in its existence.
Different things internationally, I think it's inappropriate for us as a state agency to tell the United States of America how to negotiate foreign affairs.
Oh, my goodness. This is why I'm hashtag Texas. It's inappropriate. It's inappropriate for us Texans to tell the federal government what to do. Well, what if the federal government isn't doing anything? And they're not. They're not standing up for Texas. President Trump is not standing up for Texas. Action should have been taken weeks ago. I called for action weeks ago, before oil hit negative $37.63 on Monday. I brought it to the attention of Texans weeks ago that we were specifically targeted. Our economy to be tanked, for us to go broke. They're trying to starve us out. And we have leadership that says, well, it's not our position to tell Washington what to do. My goodness, if we were an independent sovereign republic, Washington, Devil City wouldn't have no say in it. We could make a move. We could protect ourselves. We could counterattack. Our economy right now is larger than Russia's. Does anybody have an appetite for a Russian automobile? How about a Russian smartphone? A Russian computer? Is there anything made by Russia beyond vodka and caviar that you would even consider purchasing? They have no economy except energy. We hammer them. I mean, we stay on them like a mad dog on red meat. We make them hurt. Don't say, Chairman Christian, that Texans can take care of ourselves and then say, well, it's not for, we're going to follow the lead of Washington.
I have visited with them about my concern of this flotilla coming to the United States that I think is kind of against the intent agreed upon with President Trump with the OPEC agreement to cut production as of May 1st. So I trust President Trump, the administration, to take care of international affairs.
All right. Wayne Christian, it's always good to check in with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wayne Christian.
I don't know what to say, Saints and Patriots, except I'm sorry. I am so sorry that we've got such a lack of leadership on this, that as a state, we're literally under attack, and we don't have the leadership that's willing to do something about it. Kick the can down the road, the Railroad Commission did, to the May 5th meeting. Now, we'll make a decision on May the 5th. Well, it's not for Texas to tell the federal government what to do. Meanwhile, oil is at negative prices. Texas is looking at 10% plus unemployment just from the impact of being attacked by Russia. Companies are already declaring bankruptcy. It's a bad situation, and our leadership is twiddling their thumbs. I'm going to stay on this big time.
RER Cross is the Christian programming of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Pastor Edwin Guerra delivers passionate sermons.
And then I'm reminded, God is greater than our feelings. There are times that you don't want to be Jesus to people because you just don't feel worthy. God is greater than how we feel. And that is our hope. We are called to be the hands and feet of Jesus. We are not called called to be emotional, up and down, Christianese type of people. We are called to be bold and stand firm on what we believe, even if you don't feel like it.
Enjoy Pastor Edwin Guerra, 8:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. Sundays on RER Cross, right here on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Green Air Technology will sanitize, sterilize, and defunkifies your home. Our treatment utilizes a high-output biocleaner to eradicate bacteria, germs, and airborne pathogens and allergens in any home, vehicle, or facility. So if your facility or home smells funky like a bow-legged monkey, call Green Air Technologies. We are dedicated to eliminating odor and airborne contaminants at home, at work, or even in your vehicle. Now featuring Biosphere. Call Jim Green at 346-254-9217 or go to greenairtech.com. 346-254-9217 or go to greenairtech.com.
What's up, Saints and Patriots? I'm Apostle Claver, a proud Texas nationalist, and I'm here to tell you about Texit. For 25 years, Daniel Miller has been working to see the rebirth of the Republic of Texas. His work has been hard, but his passion is deep. For many Texans, there is a deep yearning, a burning to see the prophecy of Sam Houston come true. But the desire of their hearts comes with many questions. Texit has the answer. It's the new book from Daniel Miller and Defiance Press. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. Texit charts the path to Texas independence. This riveting book of facts and philosophy will soothe your anxiety about the coming change and build your confidence that Texans can get it done. You'll want to buy several copies for your family and friends. Like I've said about this governmental mess, the only way out is out. And the best part of Texit, I'm in it. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. It's selling like hotcakes. Buy it on RagingElePhantsRadio.com. What do you care about Washington, D.C.? D.C. doesn't care about you. You're a Texan. You're a Texan above all else. And there's only one radio station that's going to feed your need for Texas power and independence. RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Finally, the Patriots of the Lone Star State have a unified voice to fight back and organize. 24/7, 365. RagingElePhantsRadio.com is going to give you what you need to know about Texas politics, liberty, and independence. Take us wherever you go. RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Streaming on your computer, smartphone, tablet, and internet auto.
Get to know Texas politics. RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Thanks for joining me, Saints and Patriots. A little bit later on, former State Representative Jason Isaac, who is now in senior management with the Texas Public Policy Foundation, is going to be joining me to talk about this issue. What do we do with the Texas economy? I think that it is a three-front war that we are fighting as a state. And I really don't see anybody coming up alongside of us to offer assistance at the moment. Special report last night, I laid them out for you, the three fronts. First, the attack by Russia and Saudi Arabia on the backbone of our economy, the oil and natural gas business. We're facing serious trouble as the front month on the West Texas Intermediate crude is getting ready to break into single digits. Second, I think the border invasion is still very important. It's still going on. We're tracking for another 350,000 illegal border crossings for FY 2020. That's way down from the 1.25 million in FY 2019. But the border invasion still continues, and it's going to cause us problems as it always has. And when you're under economic stress, the last thing that you need is cheap labor coming across and providing more competition that multi-generational legal Texans are going to have a harder time finding work. The third front that we're fighting is the panic shutdown of the Texas economy. It's been predicted that one third of small businesses will go out of business if you don't open the economy right away. Everybody's eyeballs are looking at Georgia to see what happens. I believe it's this Friday. They're going to try pretty much a full reopen in Georgia. At least the governor has stated that. But then the mayors have come along, the governor being a Republican, the mayors being, of course, Democrats, and saying, well, not so fast. We like this idea of power and telling people where they can go, when they can go, what they can buy, what they can't buy. We like this power trip that we're on under the guise of we're all going to die and humanity is in danger of being extinct because of COVID-19 and the panic. So Texas, in my view, is fighting a three-front war. We need to reopen the Texas economy right away, fully right away. I gave you the one step that it would take to reopen the Texas economy. We rely on liberty, our business owners and their employees, to make the best decisions on how to interact with the consumer, with the public, but you don't pick winners and losers like this. This is the ultimate in picking winners and losers. It's been proven already that even before the bailout program gets off the ground, it's not going to work. You've got a $20 trillion GDP annually, a $90 trillion total economy. How in the world are you going to bail out everyone? And I'm just thinking about citizens in New York or Massachusetts or New Jersey. Yeah, they get their $1,200 check and they go out and be able to buy one load of grocery. Is anybody aware of the rent levels in New York City? What are you going to do with $1,200? Really, truly, what are you going to do? That won't cover parking for a month in New York. That won't cover parking. Pay $1,200 just for a parking space for your car if you have one in New York City. How are you going to bail out a nation of 330 million people? Open the economy right now. Open the economy in Texas right now. The situation, the back and forth that's going on in Georgia between between the governor and the mayors, well, the state has ultimate authority. And the Democrats always want to run to local control when it means moving their agenda. But the states created the federal government, and the states created the municipalities. The state, as far as the United States Republic is concerned, the state is the ultimate governmental authority. The states are the go-to. If the governor of Georgia is saying we're going to full reopen, sorry, mayors, you may not like it, but you're not going to have the power anymore to pick winners and losers. You're not going to have the power to determine whether one of your citizens will be able to pay their bills, to put food on their table. You don't have the power to decide whether or not they must go on the government teat in order to survive. No more of that. Open the economy. Open the Texas economy. Not incrementally, as suggested by Governor Abbott. Turn the light switch on right now, fully, full blast. 5x5, turn up the volume to 11. On the economy right now, we need it, especially, as Wayne Christian says, in wartime. I got to thank Ted Cruz once again, because I saw him tweet this out, and I want to bring it to your attention. I want to read this. You guys may have already checked it out already. From CNSnews.com, Representative Ocasio-Cortez cheers oil futures price plunge, then deletes tweet. Is anybody else covering this? I don't know. Is anybody else talking about this? I'm sure. This is, since everybody follows AOC, I'm pretty sure that someone out there is talking about this. Sean, Laura, Tucker, somebody. AOC, Alexandria Obviously Clueless is what AOC stands for. CNSnews.com reports Green New Deal advocate Representative Alexandria Obviously Clueless, Democrat from New York, came under fire Monday for a tweet later deleted, apparently celebrating the news that U.S. oil futures had dropped below zero for the first time. Ocasio-Cortez tweeted, quote, "You absolutely love to see it," end of quote, responding to a tweet on the unprecedented crude oil price drop resulting from the coronavirus pandemic. That's not true. That's not true. That's only partially true. That's only partially true. Remember the actions of Russia and Saudi Arabia coupled with the pan panic. She continued, quote, "This, along with record low interest rates, means it's the right time for a worker-led mass investment in green infrastructure to save our planet." Cough. End of quote. Doesn't she make you just want to regurgitate? Doesn't she make you want to grab pitchforks and torches? Ocasio-Cortez later deleted the post, which critics charged amounted to cheering for a situation that could lead to massive job losses in the U.S. energy industry. Over the past 4 weeks, more than 22 million Americans have filed for unemployment benefits. And she's the one that chased Amazon out of New York, right? She chased all those jobs out. And now she wants, I guess, Texans, hundreds of thousands of Texans to lose their jobs. She's happy about it. This is another reason for Texans to fight back. The sentiment of an Alexandria obviously clueless. She's not the only one that thinks like this. All the lefties think like this. Bernie Sanders thinks like all the lefties think like this. This is an opportunity. Oh, oil is negative. This is a reason for the new Green Deal because oil is negative. Wasn't it just a few years ago that we were supposed to run out of oil? Now we've got so much oil, we don't know what to do with it. We got so much oil, people are paying for it not to be delivered. Weren't we supposed to run out of oil? That was the predictions. Paul Gosar, Republican of Arizona, his quote, "While at AOC deleted this tweet, the sentiment remains the same. The left doesn't care about the millions of Americans losing their jobs. Maybe that is why they refuse to help us replenish the Paycheck Protection Program." Oh, the 3P thing, that's a complete failure. "Which part of the millions of the blue-collar workers losing their jobs and small refineries closing their doors forever is what you love to see?" Tweeted Senator Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas. Asking for those in Texas and across USA whose livelihoods, ability to put food on the table are at risk. Thank you, Senator Cruz. Once again, where's Senator Cornyn? It's awfully silent. Conservative commentator Candace Owens called the now deleted tweet positively despicable, adding that obviously clueless, quote, "is such a radical communist that she is celebrating," all caps, "the loss of American jobs in a volatile market," end of quote. Let me remind you, this is all because Russia attacked us. Russia and Saudi Arabia attacked us. That fact cannot be omitted and must be continually underscored. We were attacked. In a more cautiously worded tweet about 40 minutes after the first one, obviously clueless linked to the same post on the oil price situation and said, quote, "This snapshot is being acknowledged as a turning point in the climate movement. Fossil fuels are in long-term structural decline. This, along with low interest rates, means it's the right time to create millions of jobs, transitioning to renewable and clean energy, a key opportunity." That is so twisted, I don't even know where to begin. I gotta take a break first. That this is an opportunity to deploy the new Green Deal. This is it. This is the opportunity to fully make the United States of America totally communist. This is the opportunity right here, right now, with oil being negative.
RER Cross is the Christian programming of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Pastor Stephen Broden is a featured Bible teacher.
What runs interference with God's instructive word are Satan, the world, and the flesh. Out of these three comes doubt, fear, and unbelief. Doubt and fear leads to unbelief. Unbelief, more than any other sin, is targeted towards the very character and integrity of God Himself. It challenges God's promises, His stated purposes, and casts dispersion on His plan for you and all who believe. This is what Satan did in the Garden of God with Adam and Eve. Satan led them to believe God was holding back on them and was untruthful about the consequences if they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Enjoy Pastor Stephen Broden, 9:30 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. Sundays on RER Cross, right here on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Automobile aficionado, Apostle Claver here. Let me introduce you to my mechanic, an ASC certified mechanic, Andre at America's Repair in Houston. Now, you guys know I'm a former fully sponsored race car driver, and I own a high-performance auto. You bet I'm particular about who even touches my car. I go to America's Repair to get all my auto work done, and you should too. Andre has served Spring Branch and all of Houston for over 20 years. America's Repair will match or beat any competitor's price. All repairs come with a 1-year, 12,000-mile warranty. America's Repair is a complete car care and repair center. State inspection, muffler and exhaust work, wheel alignment, brake work, tune-ups, engine transmission work, auto body and paint. Great deals on oil change and AC checkup. America's Repair accepts all extended warranties. 2005 North Gessner, 1 mile north of Memorial City Mall in the Katy. Wednesday is senior citizen discounts. Thursday, active military discount. Call 713-467-2001. 713-467-2001. AmericasRepair.com. Or click the ad on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Hey guys, spring is just around the corner and it's time to check out your air conditioning system. Call Galen Beatty with Beatty AC and Heat, 281-222-9591. And mention this commercial and you can save $15 off your next checkout. Galen Beatty is my AC guy and he needs to be your AC guy too. No one does it better than he does. This family-owned business is the best in Houston. And even if you're out of town, if you need to replace your entire heating and AC system, Galen Beatty is going to be your best bet. He'll check everything from your thermostats to your air handler to make sure that you're getting the most efficient system ever. Nobody does it like Galen Beatty, and the price is always right. So be sure to mention this commercial and save an extra $15 today. That's Galen Beatty with BeattyACandHeat.com. BEEE ACandHeat.com. 281-222-9591. 281-222-9591. Call him today.
Can you do it? The RER 2+2 Challenge. Howdy, rowdy Texans. It's me, E, the millennial voice of RER. I'm a big fan of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. More Texas voters should be listening to RER every day. A better, deeper knowledge of how Texas works will help Texas voters to make Texas more like Texas. The RER 2+2 Challenge. Listen to RER 2 hours a day, every day, for 2 weeks. You'll learn more about Texas politics in 2 weeks than you've ever known. Mark it on your daily calendar. Set your phone alarm. The RER 2+2 Challenge. 2 hours a day, every day, for 2 weeks. RagingElePhantsRadio.com. The rebellious voice of Texas liberty.
Texas-centric radio for Texans in the know. RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Say hi to everybody, Butch. My co-host, Butch. At one point, he was the cutest Christmas puppy ever, but he's not a puppy anymore. Isn't that right, Butch? He's a good boy. I want AOC to meet Butch. It'd be a good dinner for him, AOC. She's about that skinny, from what I can see. He could probably chew her up in one meal. It used to be, in just a minute, we're gonna have former State Representative Jason Isaac to join me. Butch, make up your mind. You're either going to come in or you're going to go out. Which one is it? Butch is actually the boss of the house. There's no question about it. Many of you that have been watching me for a while, remember Butch when he was a puppy 2 years ago. It was smaller than his head. During the whole program, he would sit at my feet and nap. That's when the program was at 12 noon. That was his nap time. I remember all the way back in high school, because of the oil shock and being on the debate team, the competition subject to be debated for the entire UIL season was how to replace fossil fuels, because there was supposed to be an oil shortage. That sometime in the near future, perhaps even before the 21st century, the world was going to run out of oil. And so 40 years ago, we were debating in high school for trophies and ribbons, and perhaps even scholarships, what to do about oil. And here we are, 40 years later, however many years long it is, and for the first time in the history of the world, the price of oil goes negative. A minus $37.63 on Monday. And Texans and our economy is at risk because of this. But we're supposed to have an oil shortage. Environmentalists were telling us, geologists telling us, these so-called scientists, the ultimate revenge of the nerds, were telling us we're going to run out of oil. The reserves can't last forever. And on Monday, we saw negative $37.63. We're going to run out of oil. And AOC wants to take this opportunity to institute 100% communism, if you ask me. 100% communism by saying, let's crank up the New Deal. This is what Texas is facing. I played this for you yesterday. I want to play it for you again today. This is what Houston and Texas is facing because of the actions of the Russians and the Saudi Arabians.
In Houston alone, there are over 250,000 jobs just in the energy sector. How many of those will be left after this? For more, let's bring in Sergio Chapa. He's a reporter with the Houston Chronicle who's been tracking the economic toll this collapse is having on the economy. Sergio, what do we know so far?
Well, what do we know? So far here in Houston, we've had about nearly 250,000, 250,000 unemployment claims. What we're on track to see by the end of April is 10% unemployment figures here in Houston. That's double digits. Those types of figures haven't been seen here in Houston since the 1980s. So definitely this situation is bringing up memories of the 1980s oil bust and its effect here in Houston. A number of companies have issued guidance on layoffs. It seems so far the hardest hit are oil field service companies and, oil field equipment manufacturers. They are taking the brunt of those layoffs right now.
For sure. So the Houston economy, like we said, we know it's more diversified than in the past. Healthcare is a big part of that, so on and so forth. But when you start comparing this collapse to the 1980s, no one wants to hear that. There's been a contentious debate in Washington over whether to help oil and gas companies or not. And the tricky thing is, yes, they're hit by the same coronavirus that other sectors are hit by. But there's this idea, what if the price of crude doesn't come back? How do we know what to do in terms of this being a temporary problem versus something more lasting?
Right. Now, what I've been told is that, oil and gas, even though the Houston economy has been diversified, oil and gas still makes up about 1/3 of the economy here. There's just no ways around that. But what other people have told me that the oil and gas industry is actually better set up this time around at this downturn than, say, the 1986 or 2016. It's lean and it's mean and it's more efficient than before. And, some companies are definitely in stronger positions than others with enough cash and liquidity to ride out the storms. Others, however, are not. ones with weak hedge books and ones with high debt. So we're in the middle of the bank restructuring season right now. We're going to get a lot of guidance on that when we see, how they do in the refinancing season, and then also earnings season. We're seeing a lot of guidance from there.
Right.
A lot of pain again in OFS.
Yeah, I've been watching this flotilla as well. We've got these 20 Saudi tankers with 40 million barrels headed to the Gulf. I mean, it's just one thing after another. Keep us posted, Sergio. We appreciate it. Sergio Chapa is a reporter with the Houston Chronicle.
Saints and Patriots, we're in huge trouble. Houston is to expect 10% plus unemployment. And our leadership is clueless on what we should do about this. We're getting no answers from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I know that there's those out there that say President Trump he's making some utterances about what's going on with the energy prices and what's going on with Texas. So far, the only one that I see that's truly leading on this fully with their heart, 100%, is U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. Senator Cornyn is MIA, as usual. I have absolutely no confidence in Greg Abbott. I've lost confidence in the Texas Railroad Commission. I just played for you the interview from Wayne Christian. He doesn't know what to do. He's waiting to follow the lead of Washington, Devil City. In the meantime, we're looking at 10% plus unemployment in Houston alone. Layoffs have already started, and this was intentionally done to Texas by Russia and Saudi Arabia. To me, it's the number one issue that we face right now as a state, a three-front war: immigration, oil, and the panic. Open the economy right now.
RER Cross is the Christian programming of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Here's a sample from Pastor Keenan Smith.
See, however, though, I believe the White House is supposed to stand as the people's house for all individuals. So I believe it is sinful and wrong for the White House to spend tens of hundreds of thousands of your tax dollars to bathe the White House in rainbow colors, celebrating their victory. So let me say this, that we expect an unregenerated individual to act lost. Lost people act lost. We expect that. We even expect them to embrace or promote or even applaud homosexuality and other ungodly practices, because that's where they are in life. We understand that. The question is not do they act lost, but do we act found?
Enjoy Pastor Keenan Smith, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Sundays on RER Cross, right here on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Automobile aficionado, Apostle Claver here. Let me introduce you to my mechanic, an ASC certified mechanic, Andre at America's Repair in Houston. Now, you guys know I'm a former fully sponsored race car driver, and I own a high-performance auto. You bet I'm particular about who even touches my car. I go to America's Repair to get all my auto work done, and you should too. Andre has served Spring Branch and all of Houston for over 20 years. America's Repair will match or beat any competitor's price. All repairs come with a 1-year, 12,000-mile warranty. America's Repair is a complete car care and repair center. State inspection, muffler and exhaust work, wheel alignment, brake work, tune-ups, engine transmission work, auto body and paint. Great deals on oil change and AC checkup. America's Repair accepts all extended warranties. 2005 North Gessner, 1 mile north of Memorial City Mall in the Katy. Wednesday is senior citizen discounts. Thursday, active military discount. Call 713-467-2001, 713-467-2001, americasrepair.com, or click the ad on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Maintaining your home air conditioner is just as important as maintenance on your car. You don't know the big difference there's going to be until you've had the work done. I thought my system was working fine, but now it's better than ever. Galen Beatty did it for me, and he'll do it for you. Good servicing will not only keep your system performing well during the sweltering summers here in Houston, but it will save you money year after year. In my case, it cut my AC power consumption by 20%. Do what I did. Have Galen Beatty set up regular AC maintenance to cut your energy bill and prevent system failure at the worst time. And what's better than being comfortable and saving money? Whether you need a basic tune-up or it's time to put in a new super efficient system, you should call BDAC 281-222-9591. That's 281-222-9591 to schedule an AC system tune-up. BD AC and Heat. That's BEEDE AC and Heat.com. BDACandHeat.com. Harris County has a crime problem. Who are you going to call? It's harder than ever to know who you can trust. You can trust Joe Dana. Group culture is always set by leadership, whether it's an airline or a city. As a lieutenant constable every day, he honors his oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Texas. Protect and serve is in his DNA. As a Harris County Sheriff, Joe Dana will restore your trust in the Sheriff's Department and improve the morale of the deputies on the street. You can trust Joe Dana as Harris County Sheriff.
I am Lieutenant Constable Joe Dana, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Joe Dana Campaign.
Attention, business owners. The marketing plan of RagingElePhantsRadio.com is geo-targeted for Texas. From El Paso to Orange, Amarillo to Brownsville, the state of Texas is going to know about us, and they should know about you. Together, we'll have Texas covered like a blanket. When you advertise with us, you immediately get the benefits of statewide exposure. We are the way to advertise your company throughout the state of Texas and grow your customer base economically. No matter the size of your business, we have a package for you, starting at just $100 a month. Get started by clicking the advertise button on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Get to know Texas politics. RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
So during the commercial break, actually the last commercial break, I felt like I needed to go and get the colors. I had to go get my Astros cap because Houston is so under assault right now. Texas is under attack. And I just felt like I just had to go get the colors. I usually have on one of my, I'm usually representing some sort of way. H-Town down, all the way, 100%. But with us being under attack right now by the Russians and the Saudis, I just felt like I needed to put the colors on. Wartime radio for sure. I want to remind each and every one of you the great way to support Raging Elephants Radio is through the RER Marketplace powered by Amazon. Simply go to RagingElePhantsRadio.com, and right there on the right side of the column, you'll see any link, for that matter, any link on the RagingElePhantsRadio.com website. Just click on it, enter the Amazon website for all of your Amazon shopping through RagingElePhantsRadio.com, and whatever you put in your shopping cart, after you've gone through the RER website, we'll get a cut on it. It's nothing exorbitant, a few percentage points of commission, but no price change for you on any Amazon product and no change in services. If you're a Prime member, you get Prime services. All we're asking you to do is to change one little aspect of your behavior. Most of you Amazon shoppers out there, I know you are, especially during the panic. Just go to Amazon through RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Just go to the website, click any Amazon link. All of you pet parents out there, got fur babies, all of your pet supplies, your pet food, what a great way to support Raging Elephants Radio. Every time you need pet food, get it through the Raging Elephants Radio Marketplace powered by Amazon. A great way to support Raging Elephants Radio. Keep the lights on, keep our marketing program going, keep us expanding, grow the team, and simply by buying dog food or house and garden supplies. Maybe you need a little fertilizer for the lawn. RER Marketplace, powered by Amazon. This is how you can help us grow the rebellious voice of Texas liberty. I think for the very first time on Raging Elephants Radio, former state representative Jason Isaac, I want to welcome to the Raging Elephants Radio conversation line. Jason, welcome to Raging Elephants Radio.
It's great to be on. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And congratulations, your new position with Texas Public Policy Foundation. How's the thing going? Everything going with the preeminent think tank when it comes to liberty issues in the Lone Star State, our very own Cato Institute, if you will.
Yeah, it's going actually fantastic. We're the largest nonprofit political organization, think tank, if you will, focused on free market principles, individual responsibility, and limited government. largest one outside of the Washington, D.C. area, and the largest in the country that's focused on states' issues. And our presence is expanding. We now have a footprint in Washington, D.C., and numerous states, with probably the largest project of our organization right on crime, working on conservative criminal justice reform. And I'm part of a large project called Life Powered, which is challenged with raising America's energy IQ. And I've been doing that for a little over a year now. Started right before I left the legislature.
Well, then you're the perfect guy that we need to be talking with, Jason Isaac of the Texas Public Policy Foundation, TPPF. This is the macro view, Jason, if you will, of what's going on with Texas and the economy. I have been saying, I did a special report last night, that we are actually, as a state, unlike many of the others in the country, I believe we're at war. I believe the actions that were taken by Russia and Saudi Arabia were intended to do damage to Texas. Russia, for its various reasons, maybe because of the current economic sanctions, putting some hurt on them, and they want some payback. And they point it towards us. The journalistic documentation that's been put out there shows specifically that. The utterances and tweets of U.S. Senator Ted Cruz states that. He called the actions of Russia and Saudi Arabia economic warfare. And what we saw on Monday was unprecedented, as the front month for West Texas Intermediate crude went to negative $37.63. And there doesn't seem to be a recovery anytime soon. The front month now, June, is at $14 to $10, threatening to go to single digits. This is going to do damage to the backbone of the Texas economy. Houston being projected to have 10% plus unemployment just because of what's been done to us by Russia and Saudi Arabia, not even counting what the COVID-19 economic shutdown is going to do to Texas and the major metropolitan areas. So before we really drill down, Jason, just from a macro view, looking at everything that's happening right now, what are we looking at for Texas economically? What damage is actually being done?
It's going to be pretty significant. You think about it, the property tax valuations for oil and gas companies, for the leases that they have, those property tax valuations are based on January oil. So the price of January oil is significantly higher than it is right now. And so you've got a lot of companies that are based in Houston that are going to be suffering because they're having to pay property tax bills on land that doesn't have near the value that it had just a couple of months ago. The market was already saturated with oil. We had too much production going on. And then when you couple that with coronavirus and that demand dropping significantly, and then, as you say, the Russians and the Saudis start flooding the market, we're producing about 35 to 40 million barrels of oil a day over demand. And demand is down significantly. So it does not bode well for local governments. It does not bode well for the state government, and it certainly doesn't bode well for the economy. So that's kind of where we are right now. My first legislative session in 2011, we walked into a double-digit, multi-billion-dollar budget shortfall. We did not raise taxes. We cut spending. We actually shrank government for the first time in 50 years. I was proud of that. And that's what this legislature is going to be faced with in 2021 as well. They're going to go into, I would suspect, a double-digit, multi-billion-dollar budget shortfall.
And you got me where I wanted to go. I wanted to eventually get there and segue to there. But since you brought it up, it seems that the Pink Dome, when it faces these budgetary shortfalls, many of the office holders try to reach for the easy solution. Let's go to the ESF. Let's go to the Economic Stabilization Fund, the Rainy Day Fund. That may not get the job done this time, even if it was allowed, even if the Liberty Movement grassroots influencers didn't raise holy Hades over raiding the Rainy Day Fund. There may not be any money there. We get the money. We fund the Rainy Day Fund, the ESF, from the severance tax, what we pull up out of the ground, oil and gas. How is this going to impact that? I mean, when Jason, you talk about a serious dilemma that we're in beginning in January of 2019, the next biennium budget. I mean, it's a serious problem. Where are we going to get the money? Even if someone wanted to say, let's go get the ESF, let's go drain the ESF, there may not be enough money in there to balance out the budget. Jason Isaac.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think there's going to be enough money in there to balance the budget. There's a pretty significant amount of money in there right now, but you're right. 37.5% of oil and gas severance taxes go directly into the ESF, the Economic Stabilization Fund, to fund it. 37.5% of nothing is nothing, and that's essentially the value of oil right now. And so you're not going to have a lot of money going into the rainy day fund between now and the end of the year, quite possibly. So they're going to have to cut government, which as a conservative, I think that's great. Let's shrink the size of government. Let's make it less important in our lives. We've got to freeze property tax rates and valuations from a year ago. There's so many different things the legislature can do to help the economy recover, and putting more money that we earn in our pockets, letting us keep it, will spur the economy quicker than anything else, because we're going to go out and like you said, we're going to buy pet food on Amazon. We're going to get other household supplies on Amazon. We're going to spend our money, and that's going to help with sales tax revenue, which is a larger economic driver. And that's quite honestly what local governments and the state government needs to be able to do, and needs to find solutions that actually allow us to keep more of our hard-earned money, because you've got record unemployment that you're going to see over the next 6 months. And the last thing we want is people losing their homes because they can't afford to pay their property taxes.
I want to get to the overall actions of what the legislature and perhaps the governor's mansion can do. But what about the RRC, the Railroad Commission? They met on yesterday, and I played the interview from yesterday from Commissioner Ryan Sitton. And to begin today's program, I played the interview with CNBC from Chairman Wayne Christian, a guy I love a lot, but it seems that they've kicked the can down the road to May the 5th on what they want to do. There seems to be confusion about what they can do to retaliate. I've been hard right on this, Jason. You know me, man. I'm a hard charger. I'm a take no prisoners, no compromise, no surrender kind of guy. I look at the actions of Saudi Arabia and Russia, the collusion, the alliance, if you will, to put Texas oil producers out of business as an attack on Texas by some sovereigns, by sovereign independent nations. And I think Texas stands alone in this challenge, what I call a three-front war. The oil, what's going on with the oil glut, what's going on with the COVID-19 economic shutdown in Texas, and what's still going on with the southern border. We still got the border invasion going on. What can the Railroad Commission do? Because it seems to me that they are in utter confusion about, do they have any type of counterattack power at all? Are you clued into that at all, Jason? Can you help us at all? What are their options?
Yeah, and the market is already working. With the price of oil down, production's going to go down. And when they had their first, I think it was the 7th or maybe the 14th, when Parsley and Pioneer requested proration. And that's basically asking the Railroad Commission to tell every single producer in the state to cut their production 20%. That would help the independents significantly, because then everybody's going to have to play on the same level playing field. But the thing is that's just not really a free market solution. And if Texas does that again, that's not going to make up that 35 to 40 million barrel a day demand. It's not going to eat into that at all, just like the 10 million barrel a day cut that the Saudis and the Russians agreed to. We are still way over demand. Storage is filling up. Prices are dropping. But the market has already corrected. At that point in time of that first hearing, production was down 17% in the state of Texas. So producers are reacting. They're not going to pull products out of the ground that are costing them money. They're not going to try to. Some of them may be contractually obligated to do that. There are some other regulatory options that the Railroad Commission could do. Some companies have to produce permits based on their permit agreements. So there are some things that the Railroad Commission and other the Department of Interior at the federal level could say, you know what, you don't have to. We're going to waive those requirements for 6 years or for 6 months that you've got to drill so many wells to maintain your permit. So there is some regulatory relief that can be done, and that's what we're focused on at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, trying to find these regulations that are in the way, that are hampering business, that are going to slow our market recovery, and so see if we can get those suspended, eliminated, get them out of the way so that when we do open the government back up, we recover quickly.
Now,
lastly, I'll just say, if Texas cuts production, you're going to see other states increase. I know North Dakota's talking about it. Oklahoma's talking about it.
Wait, increase? Wait. Did you say they're going to increase?
No, they're actually talking about doing proration in those states. So,
okay.
Misuse of a word, said the wrong word. They're talking about this proration as well, but they're shelving it. They're very similar to the Railroad Commission because they know that if Texas cuts production, well, then guess what? That's going to make the price of oil go up, and New Mexico is going to pump more, and Oklahoma is going to pump more, and it's just going to hurt Texans and Texas.
Okay, so one thing we're talking about, what it sounds like, and what was alluded to on the business networks today, is almost like a North American OPEC, if you can, forgive the comparison there. But if you've got to have a conversation with Oklahoma, if you have to have a conversation with Ohio, Pennsylvania, other oil producers, Louisiana, New Mexico, to make sure that say, okay, if Texas cuts production, make sure Oklahoma isn't going to turn on the faucet, make sure Louisiana isn't going to turn on the faucet. We really do have to have some sort of coordinated attack, if you will, to counterattack what Russia and Saudi Arabia is doing and put some proper balance back into the oil markets. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you can see happening, Jason?
I don't see that happening, no, but that's probably what would be necessary for there to be a quicker market correction is for the state to the states to physically form its own NAFTA OPEC, if you will. Now, Mexico's cutting production. My understanding is the administration is working with Mexico and asking them to cut production. We only import, like 1.5 million barrels per day of foreign oil. That's not a whole lot. We get a lot from Canada. We get a lot from Mexico, and we use a lot domestically. We've just got to get demand going significantly. We've got to reopen this economy, and then we have got to reshore manufacturing back to the United States. It's appalling that over 90% of our medicines that we depend on come from China, and nearly 100% of antibiotics come from China. We've got to bring that pharmaceutical manufacturing back to this country where we know it meets the health requirements, but it's made in America. And you look at the personal protection equipment that's now being held up in ships and onshore in China. Of all places, we're dependent on the Chinese for personal protection equipment.
They were hoarding it, Jason. The reports are they're
hoarding it, and they're jacking up the prices, and we have absolutely got to do that. So there's incredible opportunities for us to use more of our energy, and a lot of people don't understand that, especially today in Houston, they come out with their climate action plan. They want to ban the use of fossil fuels for electric generation in the city of Austin or city of Houston, which will do nothing to benefit the environment, but will just harm Texans and Houstonians more than anything else. The goods that you and I are wearing, the personal protection equipment that our doctors and nurses and our medical staff and our first responders are wearing are all made with plastics. And that plastic comes from fossil fuels. It comes from oil. And people don't understand that. And we produce it here in the United States, where we are a world leader in clean air, and we're number one when it comes to access to clean and safe drinking water. We need more of these goods produced here in the United States to create American jobs.
We're having a conversation with former state representative Jason Isaac out of the Dripping Springs, the I-35 corridor area, Hays County. He's now with senior management at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. Any whisper number are you hearing, Jason? I mean, you're connected. That's one of the things the TPPF is known for. If they bring somebody on board, it's someone with some heft, with some gravitas, and certainly some connections. And you have those connections in Austin. Are you hearing any kind of whisper number out of the comptroller's office of what the budgetary shortfall could potentially be?
I'm not. Those numbers are being worked right now. Sales tax revenue is already down. I had some numbers out of San Antonio earlier today that their hotel tax revenue is down 90%. That their energy provider revenues are down 15%. Sales tax revenues are going to be down significantly. It's not looking good. We've got to get this economy back open.
How do we do that, Jason? How do we do that? I mean, the governor seems to be taking an incremental approach, overly cautious approach. Of course, everybody's eyeballs is on Georgia. What is Georgia going to do? The Republican governor wants to turn the lights back on right away, flip the switch right away. The Democrat mayors are pushing back. What's the best way to do it? I think the governor's actions on reopening the economy incrementally seem to be a bit timid. I say 100%. I believe that a one-step solution to reopening the Texas economy is, once again, yield to liberty, let employers Go out and make investments in handheld thermometers and hit everybody in the forehead every morning when they walk into the office with the thermometer. If your temperature is 99.1, go home and chill out for a few days. Otherwise, come in and earn your paycheck. Let the consumer decide what's best for them, safe for them. Let them wear masks if they want. Let them self-quarantine if they want, shut down and be under house arrest if they want. But the ultimate in picking winners and losers, as we see right now with the economy being shut down, I believe is intolerable and perhaps irreparable to the Texas economy. Damage that may never be undone. A third of small businesses being projected of shuttering because of this simply can't hold out for 1 quarter of no cash flow and revenue. I think we need to turn it all on at one time, not the incremental approach that the governor is taking. What is the recommendation of TPPF? Jason Isaac.
Well, we're working on a recovery agenda that you can find on our website, texaspolicy.com. I encourage people to check it out. It's got federal steps and state steps to recover the economy. And then our executive director, Kevin Roberts, was appointed to one of the governor's task force. The governor will be making announcements next week. As a staff, we've been gathering recommendations of things that we can do to help spur the economy along quickly, get things back open. Yeah, I've gone to Costco, I've gone to H-E-B, I've had to wait in line with 6-foot increments to get into these stores before. I've needed to go to Best Buy and other small stores, in the community where I live, but I can't because they've been forced to be closed. But I think if you keep these practicing social distancing measures, people want to wear masks, they want to wear masks. I'm going through hand sanitizer like crazy. I've got the spray on me at all times. I think people are going to be more safe and they're going to be more cognizant. And I think that's something that society will address. But we do need to get this economy back up and running because you're right. There are thousands of businesses. I've got a friend that owns restaurants all over the state. A guy that used to sleep on my sofa in my house in Dallas became successful, pulled some people together and started launching restaurants. And he's told me that he's had to lay off over 500 employees because they can't survive alone on takeout orders to go. So we've got to do some things. It's going to be devastating to this economy and devastating to Texans. And to think that there are, my current state representative who wants to wait and not open the economy, wants to be completely controlling of the economy, make sure that we have enough tests. Well, people focus on the tests and they focus on the deaths, but they don't focus on the rates. And the rates are actually trending to be less harmful than the flu, of which I've had and survived. The thing is, we don't have the inoculations or tests or medicines that have been proven to be effective like we do with the flu. And I think that's the scare of overwhelming the hospitals again. We're going to see a second peak, maybe a third peak when we do start to ramp open this economy. But I think we need to keep public health and the economy in mind as one. There are a lot of people that are making these decisions that are only hearing from doctors and they're not hearing from economists. But the devastation that's going to be felt by families and by people because they don't have jobs,
it's going to
they
be
lose their homes, is going to be much worse than any virus.
Term. Oh my goodness! I mean, and we talk about even the option of reopening the economy incrementally versus turning the switch on and going full bore, wide open throttle and getting the economy going. So much damage is done. It's going to take a while. I mean, no one is going to have any disposable income to go out to a restaurant or go back to a movie or to spend an extra few bucks on Amazon or, to go into one of these big box retailers that are on the verge of bankruptcy. A JCPenney who is actually a penny stock now. Unbelievable. And so you don't think we're going to go down the road of potentially some of the other Democrat-led states and we're going to have to acquiesce to some sort of government bailout in order for us to balance our budget, do you, Jason? Is that going to be an option that the governor and lieutenant governor are going to have to seriously consider to join in with Democrat-led states that are just chomping at the bit to get at the printing press of the Federal Reserve and get some bailout money?
Yeah, I don't see the state doing that of Texas. We're not going to, because we don't have an income tax, thank God, and we won't because voters just made it really, really hard for there ever to be a state income tax in Texas. So, and we're not going to fire up the printing press and start handing out checks to people in the state of Texas. The federal government is doing that. Texas is not going to do that. But I will tell you, I think the legislature and hopefully some local governments will come around and realize that the people they serve are suffering and are going to work to find ways to reduce the burdens of governments in their lives so they can keep more of their money without increasing fees, without increasing taxes, and actually getting some of these regulations. That's one of the first things that we're looking at both the federal level and the state level is the hundreds of regulations that have been suspended. If we don't need them during a pandemic, do we really need them at all?
That's right.
Do we want people to get back to work, or do they have to go get their occupational license renewed? There's just an incredible opportunity to help people become entrepreneurs and
what
get
a
back to work
contrast.
quicker.
What a contrast, isn't it, Jason? The tweet from AOC Alexandria, obviously clueless to take this opportunity to implement the new Green Deal, versus what you're proposing, that if we don't need these regulations in a time of a panic, we don't need them anytime, that if the left is looking at opportunities to advance the power of government, this is an opportune time for us to demonstrate that the elimination of regulation is what's going to be the medicine for an economy that's truly going to be sick. This is our time to really step up and advocate for these free market principles, stand firm on them, and this 2021 legislative session is a time for hopefully a Republican-led legislature to say, let's do indeed slash more regulation, more onerous problems for small business specifically, and allow them to blossom and get back to some semblance of Texas normalcy. Jason, your final word.
Absolutely. And you mentioned AOC and the left, and they're all pushing for this Medicare for all. They want to expand Obamacare. They want states to expand Medicaid. For 4 legislative sessions for 8 years, I fought diligently to make sure that we were not a state that expanded Medicaid, because it meant that it would cost us more money. And you'll look at the states that have expanded Medicaid that say, hey, look at all the people that have insurance. Well, health insurance and health care do not equal one another. The states that have expanded Medicaid continue to have higher rates of infections and higher rates of death with the coronavirus than states who have not expanded Medicaid. We've got a great state with people here that accept personal responsibility for themselves, and that's what we need to promote.
TexasPolicy.com is the website. I would advise you to get on the email list. The Texas Public Policy Foundation, it is our unique liberty-driven think tank, our Cato Institute, if you will, here in the Lone Star State. Get on the email list. Keep up what's going on. That's what they do. Look for solutions to make Texas more like Texas. And we're in trouble right now. 3 fronts that we're fighting on. The oil glut, the attack that we're having to endure from Russia and Saudi Arabia. I say it's an attack. Even Senator Ted Cruz says it's economic warfare. The border invasion still continues. Better than 2019, of course. Numbers way down, but it's not zero. Still got to pull up the magnets. And of course, the panic that shut down the Texas economy. We can do this, and the solutions that TPPF are talking about with Jason Isaac right here can help us get the job done. Jason, thanks a lot. We'll be calling on you again as this situation develops here in Texas.
Thank you, Apostle. Appreciate it. Great to be on.
You bet. Jason Isaac, former state representative off the I-35 corridor. And he's right. There's state representatives out there, especially with D's behind their names. They're not going to be friendly to the repairing of the Texas economy. Anything that they are proposing from a leftist position is going to cause more damage. I couldn't agree with Jason Isaac much more than a complete 100% consensus. This is the time for us to get absolutely, totally 100% aggressive and start stripping away regulations. This is a time to really unleash free market principles in Texas, really make Texas more like Texas. The Texas miracle, not to be a myth, to be a reality, really unleash the Texas economy and small business. They need it in order to recover. We're going to need some new businesses.
RER Cross is the Christian programming of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Here's a sample from Pastor Keenan Smith.
See, however, though, I believe the White House is supposed to stand as the people's house for all individuals. So I believe it is sinful and wrong for the White House to spend tens of hundreds of thousands of your tax dollars to bathe the White House in rainbow colors, celebrating their victory. So let me say this, that we expect an unregenerated individual to act lost. Lost people act lost. We expect that. We even expect them to embrace or promote or even applaud homosexuality and other ungodly practices because that's where they are in life. We understand that. The question is not do they act lost, but do we act found?
Enjoy Pastor Keenan Smith, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Sundays on RER Cross, right here on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Green Air Technology will sanitize, sterilize, and defunkifies your home. Our treatment utilizes a high-output biocleaner to eradicate bacteria, germs, and airborne pathogens and allergens in any home, vehicle, or facility. So if your facility or home smells funky like a bow-legged monkey, call Green Air Technologies. We are dedicated to eliminating odor and airborne contaminants at home, at work, or even in your vehicle. Now featuring Biosphere. Call Jim Green at 346-254-9217 or go to greenairtech.com. 346-254-9217 or go to greenairtech.com.
When Andrew Jackson ran for president in 1828, his opponents called him a jackass. Jackson liked the image so much, it became the mascot of the new Democratic Party.
What's up, Saints and Patriots? I'm Apostle Claver, a proud Texas nationalist, and I'm here to tell you about Texit. For 25 years, Daniel Miller has been working to see the rebirth of the Republic of Texas. His work has been hard, but his passion is deep. For many Texans, there is a deep yearning, a burning to see the prophecy of Sam Houston come true. But the desire of their hearts comes with many questions. Texit has the answer. It's the new book from Daniel Miller and Defiance Press. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. Texit charts the path to Texas independence. This riveting book of facts and philosophy will soothe your anxiety about the coming change and build your confidence that Texans can get it done. You'll want to buy several copies for your family and friends. Like I've said about this governmental mess, the only way out is out. And the best part of Texit, I'm in it. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. It's selling like hotcakes. Buy it on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Can you do it? The RER 2+2 Challenge. Howdy, rowdy Texans. It's me, E, the millennial voice of RER. I'm a big fan of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. More Texas voters should be listening to RER every day. A better, deeper knowledge of how Texas works will help Texas voters to make Texas more like Texas. The RER 2+2 Challenge. Listen to RER 2 hours a day, every day, for 2 weeks. You'll learn more about Texas politics in 2 weeks than you've ever known. Mark it on your daily calendar. Set your phone alarm. The RER 2+2 Challenge. 2 hours a day, every day, for 2 weeks. RagingElePhantsRadio.com. The rebellious voice of Texas liberty.
Numbers equal power. Spread the word about RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
I'm multitasking. I forgot to do one thing in pre-production. So I'm multitasking for this next story. I had to get a picture up real quick. I usually don't cover congressional elections. If it's a race in Washington, Devil City, I usually don't. I mean, because the national guys cover it, usually. And it's always a mess. You know, this CD versus that CD. Congressional District 22 is relatively interesting. There's a runoff between Kathleen Wall and Fort Bend County Sheriff Troy Nels. And we'd had some information passed over to us here at Raging Elephants Radio, and we took a look at it and we said, hey, this is worth passing along to Texas Patriots, especially those in Southeast Texas in the Fort Bend County area, about this CD22 race in Troy Nels. That's N-E-H-L-S, Troy Nels. Let me get a picture up. I didn't get a chance to put any graphics up on it or anything, but I can get you a picture of what the guy looks like. There he is. He's the current sheriff. Well, no, he had to resign, but see, that was the thing. His first problem is that he started his campaign with a bit of a controversy, because there were those that said he was acting illegally by forming an exploratory committee back in 2019. Some said he was breaking the law by declaring and still being a constitutionally elected sheriff of Fort Bend County, but apparently not. He cleared out on that, but he started his campaign off rather shaky. And Kathleen Wall just hammered him during the primary, because as a sheriff, apparently he embraces sanctuary city policies. But then one of our sources began doing some more digging on Sheriff Troy Nehls. And it seems that he may be just a little bit too cozy with Democrats. Kathleen Wall may have actually been onto something when she talks about his embracing of sanctuary city policies. Perhaps he's just a little bit too comfortable with leftist policies, and he's demonstrating it also in his associations where he's putting his money. There's a PAC. You guys know how I feel about PACs. There's a PAC called the Houston 80-20 PAC. And apparently Nehls likes them a lot, and they like Nehls a lot. And Houston 80-20 is an Asian identitarian group. In other words, their mission statement is they want all Asians to vote in a block. And they want them to vote in a block primarily for Democrats. Now, they have endorsed a handful of Republicans, including Troy Nehls, Rick Miller, John Zerwas, Jim Murphy, Rhinos All. They've endorsed them. But what can be told from what we see, no Republicans donate to this group, the Houston 80-20 PAC. Asian American group, closely tied with pro-abortion Democrats. And Troy Nehls is being endorsed by them, but more importantly, he donates to them. Now, although these other rhinos like Rick Miller, John Zerwas, both of them are leaving, Jim Murphy, who needs to go, although they're being endorsed by Houston 80-20 PAC, they don't give them any money. But CD22 candidate Sheriff Troy Nehls of Fort Bend County, he goes even further. Not only does he receive their endorsement, a group that endorses pro-abortion Democrats, but he gives them money. And in some instances, in some election cycles, they don't raise a lot of money. They don't raise a lot of money, this Houston 80-20 PAC. But in some instances, Troy Nehls, Fort Bend County, or former Fort Bend County Sheriff, and CD22 candidate on the Republican side in the primary, is the largest donor during that election cycle to the Houston 80-20 PAC. Democrat PAC, dedicated to Asians voting as a bloc. Now, this is in my campaign. I was highly critical of the ultimate nominee, Lacey Hull, for accepting the endorsement of Texans for Lawsuit Reform and allowing Texans for Lawsuit Reform to be her campaign's biggest donor, because Texans for Lawsuit Reform has given millions of dollars to pro-abortion Democrats. And when you're giving $500,000 in campaign donations to a pro-abortion Democrat, pro-abortion, pro-LGBTQ plus Democrat, you're literally keeping them in office. When you're giving money to someone who is formally set on the board of Planned Parenthood to the tune of $250,000, you are essentially trying to put them in office or keep them in office. And this was my thing with Texans for Lawsuit Reform and Lacey Hull attaching herself to them. Texans for Lawsuit Reform, they're filthy. But Texas is polluted from border to border with all types of PACs that are just as filthy as Texans for Lawsuit Reform, just as diabolical as TLR. They just don't have the kind of money and influence. And from what we can tell, Houston 80-20 PAC is one of these political action committees that has the same type of mindset as the Texans for Lawsuit Reform. They just don't have as much money. But birds of the feather flock together, and Troy Nehls, his donations to the Houston 80-20 PAC signals to us that he's someone that cannot be trusted. Anybody can call themselves a conservative. I can stand in my garage and call myself a Mercedes-Benz. That doesn't make me a Mercedes-Benz. Any candidate, especially in Texas, on the Republican side, if they want to be elected, they automatically claim to be a conservative Republican. A conservative. But you have to examine their associations, perhaps their campaign donations. In the case of Troy Nehls, their actions as even sheriff of Fort Bend County. And yeah, he embraced sanctuary city policies. But when you are grouped in the likes of Sylvester Turner, Chris Brown, David Robinson, Greg Myers, and these are all 2019 Houston City Council election endorsements by the Houston 20 PAC that are also endorsing Troy Nehls. Sylvester Turner and Chris Brown endorsed by Planned Parenthood. Now, they endorsed Todd Linton against Dan Crenshaw. They endorsed Lizzie Fletcher against Culberson. I don't care if you don't like Culberson or not. The fact that you prefer Culberson over Fletcher, I know that much. They endorsed Lizzie Fletcher. They endorsed Al Green. They endorsed Sheila Jackson Lee. They endorsed State Representative Gene Wu, State Representative Hubert Vo, Democrat Harris County Clerk Farmer, State Representative Diane Troutman. These are all hardcore leftists. These are all communists. And the Houston 80-20 PAC is very comfortable in endorsing them. In the 2016 general election, in which Troy Nehls actually gave a campaign contribution to Houston 80-20 PAC, they endorsed James Cargas, the Democrat, against Culberson. They endorsed Al Green, the Rhino pro-abortion Republican John Zerwas, the Rhino good-for-nothing Jim Murphy, Gene Wu once again, Ed Gonzalez, the Democrat for the Harris County Sheriff. Then why in the world would they endorse Troy Nehls, Republican for Fort Bend County Sheriff? And in 2017, Troy Nehls was once again one of the biggest donors to Houston 80-20 PAC. These are the kind of people, the kind of candidates that Houston 80-20 PAC endorses. Adrian Garcia, MJ Khan, Ellen Cohen. These are hardcore leftist communists. In 2014 election, Al Green, Sheila Jackson Lee, Boris Miles, Ron Reynolds, Hubert Vo, John Whitmire, Gene Wu. Then you got the Rhinos, Rick Miller, Jim Murphy, and John Zerwas. This all tells me that Troy Nehls is a straight-up Rhino. If you are really following the CD22 race, the primary, whenever the runoff, whenever it's going to be held, because who knows? I don't know. I'm completely confused. Whenever they hold the runoff, these associations and participation by Troy Nehls with the Houston 80-20 PAC should disturb you, and these actions should persuade you that he is disqualified to receive your vote in CD22. It looks like to me the default choice is going to be Kathleen Wall. We know Kathleen is closely associated with Texas Right to Life. We know that she's pro-life down to the bone marrow. No, she may not be the most exciting thing walking on the planet, But we know that her compass is pointed correctly towards life, liberty, and prosperity. So when you look at Troy Nehls and you do an MRI on Troy Nehls, you've got to come to the conclusion that he's disqualified to receive your vote in CD22 if you consider yourself to be a conservative Texan, a conservative voter, more than one issue voter, because Troy Nehls is messing it up on multiple issues. And when you see him tied to these pro-abortion, pro-LGBTQ Democrats and a pro-abortion, pro-LGBTQ PAC like Houston 80-20, and he's not only being endorsed by them, he is donating to them, he's disqualified. He can't call himself a conservative Republican. Well, he can, but he's lying through his teeth. He's speaking the language of his dad. He's lying through his teeth. These associations mean something. This is why you do the background checks. This is why you do the opposition research. Who are the people that you potentially are going to be voting for? Who do they associate themselves with? And Troy Nehls is associating himself with Democrats who are backed by Planned Parenthood. Can we truly believe that Troy Nehls is 100% pro-life if he's linked arm in arm with a John Zerwas or a Sheila Jackson Lee or an Al Green or a Gene Wu or a Boris Miles? Can we be fully confident that he's pro-life when he's linked arm in arm with John Whitmire? All these guys are tied to Planned Parenthood. All these guys are tied to the abortion industry. All these Democrats are attached to the pro-LGBTQ plus neo-morality movement, and so is Troy Nehls. This is a serious x-ray on this former Fort Bend County sheriff. You got a runoff in CD22. It seems to me that Troy Nehls, based on his association with pro-abortion, pro-LGBTQ neo-morality Democrats and him giving money to such a PAC, disqualifies him for office, disqualifies him for your vote. The default vote seems to be Kathleen Wall. She may not be able to set the room on fire, but you can trust her, I bet. She won't be up there voting pro-death.
The battle for liberty rages in every Texas community, none more so than in the nation's fourth largest city, Houston, Texas. A tyrannical mayor denies the right to vote to the citizens of the city, signs executive orders that violate the Texas Constitution and the charter of the city, and issues subpoenas for the sermons of pastors. And when the frontline leaders against the mayor's totalitarian agenda wanted a broadcast partner for their faith, family, and freedom tour, who did they request? RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
There are a lot of great folks that we owe a big debt of gratitude for promoting this issue from day one. I want to recognize my friend Claver and the folks over at Raging Elephants over here. He was on it from day one. Every single week this man talks about this issue. And so thank you, Claver, for never giving in, never backing down, and continuing to be that loud conservative voice.
RagingElePhantsRadio.com, the rebellious voice of Texas liberty.
RER Cross is the Christian programming of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Here's a sample from Pastor Keenan Smith.
See, however, though, I believe the White House is supposed to stand as the people's house for all individuals. So I believe it is sinful and wrong for the White House to spend tens of hundreds of thousands of your tax dollars to bathe the White House in rainbow colors, celebrating their victory. So let me say this, that we expect an unregenerated individual to act lost. Lost people act lost. We expect that. We even expect them to embrace or promote or even applaud homosexuality and other ungodly practices because that's where they are in life. We understand that. The question is not do they act lost, but do we act found?
Enjoy Pastor Keenan Smith, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Sundays on RER Cross, right here on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
What's up, Saints and Patriots? I'm Apostle Claver, a proud Texas nationalist, and I'm here to tell you about Texit. For 25 years, Daniel Miller has been working to see the rebirth of the Republic of Texas. His work has been hard, but his passion is deep. For many Texans, there is a deep yearning, a burning to see the prophecy of Sam Houston come true. But The desire of their hearts comes with many questions. Texit has the answer. It's the new book from Daniel Miller and Defiance Press. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. Texit charts the path to Texas independence. This riveting book of facts and philosophy will soothe your anxiety about the coming change and build your confidence that Texans can get it done. You'll want to buy several copies for your family and friends. Like I've said about this governmental mess, the only way out is out. And the best part of Texit, I'm in it. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. It's selling like hotcakes. Buy it on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Here's how to use the RER app on your commute and get the latest Liberty 411. First, download the RER app on your smart device, phone or tablet, Apple or Android. Search Raging Elephants Radio in your App Store or Google Play and hit the search button on your keyboard. Connect your device to your car audio system. Do it via Bluetooth or auxiliary jack. You riding old school? Stick in some quality earbuds and enjoy the serious HD stereo. No excuses. It's here. RER app.
Find Raging Elephants Radio on Twitter at RE Radio Texas.
And be an RER evangelist. Tell somebody about Raging Elephants Radio. You know, I'm crowing a lot. And I'm pumping my chest a lot about this whole panic thing and also Texas being under attack. Because from the very beginning, I said that I was going to be the anti-panic broadcast activist. I was stuck to my word, stuck to my guns. I said that I was going to be the anti-panic talk show host. The tyranny you could see as clear as day. Everybody knew it. The government was going to take the opportunity to expand its sphere of influence, its power. Every single one of us uncomfortable with that. I keep saying it. I will continue to say that when government takes turf, it is very difficult for the Saints and Patriots to take turf back. I couldn't agree with Jason Isaac more. I mean, he opened my eyes to something that I really hadn't clicked for me. But this is a grand opportunity for us to really scrape away some regulations here in Texas and make Texas more like Texas. The attack that we're suffering from Russia and Saudi Arabia, and the unnecessary panic and the shutting down of the Texas economy. I mean, Jason Isaac from the Texas Public Policy Foundation is 100% right. I mean, I couldn't concur with him more strongly. This is a time to really scrape away a whole lot of regulation, because before this thing is over, the projections are that a third or more of small businesses, not just in Texas, but around the nation, they'll be gone. There is no bailing out. New businesses are going to have to be started, are going to have to be generated in order to take over the employment gap that these small businesses going out of business, shuttering, is going to leave. And it was totally unnecessary, and we all know it. Complete panic. And the damage, it's going to take a long time to repair. And it was completely and 100% unnecessary. Some of these businesses, there's not going to be any bailing out. They're gone. There's no coming back. I use the example of the little ice cream shop down the street from our house. You know, you walk into a restaurant these days and the chairs are up on the table and they've got police tapes telling you where you can't go. But at least you could go in there and get some takeout. You know they're still in business. The little ice cream shop is not in business at all. There's nothing in there. There's no tables. There's no chairs. There's no refrigerators. There's nothing. Little ice cream shop is gone. Sure, it might have been teetering on the brink of going out of business already, but the panic and shutting down the economy certainly put the death nail in its coffin. And there's going to be a lot of businesses, small and medium, that are going to be like that. There is no bailout number. I guess governments, state and municipality governments, are going to be arm wrestling with small businesses for the small crumbs of cash that the Federal Reserve is going to print and pass out, the helicopter money. And every single one of you, as conservatives, economically know that all this bailing out and printing of money $12 trillion is the last count. It's going to cost us. It's going to cost us big time. Bailout money, almost 50% of GDP, annual GDP. I mean, we get to, well, we're past it. What, the $20 trillion is our annual GDP, and we're looking at total bailout money of $12 trillion. We're 50% of GDP, annual GDP, trying to bail out everybody. In a $90 trillion economy, somebody's going to pay for that, and it's not going to be pretty. I will continue to emphasize the fact that Texas is under attack. I will continue, and if you didn't hear the program, see the program from yesterday, I would highly advise that you go back and check it out. Check out the video, check out the audio archive. It's already posted at RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Go check it out, because we are at war on 3 separate fronts. Everybody is aware of the panic and the Texas economy being shut down, but the specific actions taken by sovereign entities, Russia and Saudi Arabia, to do damage to us. And then when Jason Isaac says, even if the Texas Railroad Commission decides to cut production of oil and gas in Texas, which they have the power to do, the Texas Constitution does give the Texas government the power to regulate natural resources, and that would be oil and natural gas. So yes, per the Texas Constitution, it is one of the 4 areas that they can get their tentacles on. Natural resources. But for Jason Isaac to tell us, oh, okay, even if Texas and the RRC says we're going to mandate the cutting of oil production, pulling Texas tea out of the ground, that other states, just to do damage to us, may jack up oil production. That's unconscionable to me. Why in the world are we staying in the union? And here, if we say we're going to cut oil production, and then Oklahoma says, oh no, well, to counterbalance Texas's cut, we're gonna increase production. And here I am advocating to let Oklahoma come in with us when we leave the union, and they want to do something like this potentially. No. I'm still waiting for the counterattack. I'm still waiting for someone to protect Texas from the attack that we're having to endure from 2 foreign powers. The collusion, the alliance, the collaboration, the conspiracy of Russia and Saudi Arabia. I don't care if anyone else doesn't talk about this. I'm going to talk about this because the future of Texas has been severely endangered. As Jason Isaac has pointed out, the budgetary shortfall for the 2021 legislative session could be historic. And the Economic Stabilization Fund, the Rainy Day Fund, which they like to raid in order to balance the budget, it's going to be empty. There will be no balancing the budget by raiding the Rainy Day Fund. The Rainy Day Fund is filled, like Jason Isaac told us, by 37% of what comes out of the ground in Texas, oil and natural gas. And right now, 0 can come out of the ground. 0. We face severe problems in which none of them are caused by us, by Texans. We're the ones that are being victimized. No, I'm not grabbing onto a victimization mentality, but I'm keeping my eyes wide open and I'm watching out for Texas. I'm saying that we're under attack. They're trying to do damage to us. We need counterattack. We need self-defense. We need it economically, and we need it now. So I'm not going to back off. I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to surrender. I'm not going to give anybody any slack, because too many Texans are being harmed. Too many Texans are being damaged. They're trying to take food off our table. They're trying to starve us. They're doing an economic pincer movement on Texas, and we can't allow it. We have to counterattack. We have to attack back. We have to take control of our own destiny economically. We have to say, you're not going to put us in the poorhouse. We have to say we're not going to have a one-state depression. We have to galvanize in Texas as Texans, and we have to strike back. Our survival is at stake. Our survival is at stake. We need to lean, one day after San Jacinto Day, we need to lean on our legacy. We need to stand on the shoulders of our foreparents. And we need to act like Texans. And we need to say that if you're going to mess with Texas, we're going to mess you up. And if Washington, D.C. and the president will not act to protect Texas, if they will not act on behalf of Texas and our prosperity and all we've put into the United States, I say that Texas acts unilaterally. We find some way to strike back. We find some way to say once again, Texas is indeed a sovereign, independent state, even if we still are attached to the Union. We believe in Article 1, Section 1, Section 2 of the Texas Constitution. Chairman Wayne Christian says it's a time of war, we're in warfare. Ted Cruz says that we are the victims of economic warfare. I said that we have been attacked and we need to attack back. And we do. So I want each and every one of you to stay encouraged. I want each and every one of you to stay on fire. I want each and every one of you to keep the fire at the feet of those who have been elected to represent us, and that we demand liberty. We demand our economy to be opened up immediately, not incrementally. And we demand retribution against Russia and Saudi Arabia for attacking us, our children, and our children's children's prosperity. It's the only thing that we Texans can do, what we should do. It's in our DNA. I'm Apostle Claver T. Kamau-Imani, the Christian politician, your ultra-conservative soul brother. My enemies under the pink dome call me the purifier. It's actually biblical, so I like it. From Houston, I had to put the colors on. We're under attack, we're under assault. I had to, in the middle of the program, I had to put the colors on. I had to go put the colors on. From Houston, may the Lord Jesus bless you. May the Lord Jesus bless the past and soon to be, prayerfully, sovereign, independent Republic of Texas.